Welcome, everyone, to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's, and I will be your lone captain on today's journey. It is going to be an interesting one. We have Ember versus Rome, 2 mid-tier teams battling it out for that gold rank. I mean, we'll take a look at MMRs and such once I have all of our lobby information and everything set up. I do think we are good, so we will go into the pick bans first. Well, actually, sorry, first let's take a look at their overall MMRs. Rome working with a 1200 MMR, Ember 1190, and we'll look in the worldwide where that kind of places them. I mean, yeah, they are 12, going on empty is 1210, and they are a gold tier team. Legionnaires are 1190, and they're gold tier, interestingly enough, so they're on a bit of a downswing. But, definitely an opportunity for these teams to break into the gold ranking in the VRML. It is definitely a different tier of play, obviously, but I think at this MMR and in this kind of within this range, like I would say 10 to 20 ranking, it's all very competitive. So I do anticipate to see a real interesting match today. I think I'm curious if we're going to see really tight defense, if we're going to see mistakes, if those mistakes are going to be capitalized on. I'm not sure what to expect out of this Ember v Rome matchup. What I do know is that we are going to... Well, I do know the pick bans. Excuse me. Coming in from Ember, it is a cargo ban. And coming in from Rome, it is Bazaar. So 2 relatively close quarters maps taken off of the playing field. That does leave us with a few tight ones and some long-range maps. Downfall obviously being the longest one, and it is going to be where we'll be heading for map number 1. So we're actually kicking this series off with a bit of a lengthy start. Still waiting for the 5th from Ember. Seems there's some last-minute PC issues they're currently hashing out. But looking at the active roster on Rome, we have Gladiator, Lorena Scout, Mike Crook, William Dunce, and Lucky AF. And on Ember, we have Hailfire, Quokka, SliderCon. Oof. J-Lo? JH105. You guys tell me. And I'm not sure who their 5th is. But I'm curious, Rome doesn't get a lot of attention drawn onto them. This is their 3rd cast by me in this entire season. They have been slowly climbing the ladder, ranked 16th right now. And like I've said, they're a lot of people, I mean, ranked 10 is a 1220 MMR. Rome is ranked 16 with 1200, so it's probably a low 1200 considering they're beneath the 5 Horsemen, who are also at a 1200. So you gotta remember that the MMR that we see on the site is rounded. I think it's always rounded down, no matter what. So we always see the lowest possible, but we don't see, so maybe they're at, maybe 5 Horsemen are at 1219, or, you know, 1209, and Rome are at 1207. There's a lot of range in those obvious 10 numbers, but they're close. I mean, they're right up there with Blaze, Silent Purge, Pacifist. If they can grab this round or grab this series and do it in a strong fashion, they may push up into that gold tier, like I said. So an important series for Rome, just kind of break up into the upper echelons of the world rankings, if you will. Would definitely be a I think it would be a big moment for this team, because they are, in the grand scheme of Onward, new. Season 6, the Rome team was established, so they've been around since 2018. I suppose that's almost a year now, but so yeah, you can't really call anybody that has been around since Season 6 to be a rookie at this point. But yeah, it's great to see them potentially break into that gold tier and be fighting out with some of those household names in the VRML, if you will. Patiently waiting for that 5th. Ember now maybe scrambling. Hopefully they don't have too tough of a time scooping up a 5th for their team. I think what I was going to say is I'm curious if we'll see the shotgun from Lorena Scout. I don't know if I did say that already, but I am curious. We'll see what sort of strategies Rome breaks out. I mean, I've seen Lorena. I've watched Lorena use that shotgun and be effective with it at times. One of the more innovative, I said it that way, uses I saw was that he had a shield and a shotgun. The problem is obviously that requires a heavy investment on a team scale, because you're going to need someone to drop their main weapon, the shotgun, for somebody with a shield, and then take a pistol with no real weapon. So I think they didn't probably find that to be as viable a strategy, but that was when I felt like the shotgun had some of its most interesting use. I don't quite see it being something terribly effective on this map in particular, Downfall, but yeah, I just don't think it would be a good option. Lorena obviously is also skilled and adept in rifles as well. We've seen him break that out when the shotgun just isn't doing the trick, but I'm wondering if we'll see it again today. We'll radio into the team, see if we can get information. My production team getting back to me that it should be any minute we'll be diving into the lobby. I should be able to ID who their 5th is going to be. It's like Milkman. Ah, yes. If you recall, Milkman being a staple in the Ember squad, so we'll see him ideally filling this 5th slot soon, and we'll be into map number 1 any moment. If you are just tuning in, you haven't missed anything. We haven't quite hopped into the series. It's been only 10 minutes since start, but just been hypothesizing about what's to come. If you haven't already, make sure you are following the Onward VRML and yours truly, the NightFiree, on Twitter. That way you can get updated on when all the casts are going live. More importantly, when I'm going live. Everybody needs to know that. I'm getting some feedback now that J-Lo, as we will be likely siding with as pronunciation for today, is pronounced Jerry. I do not think that's accurate, but I can sort of see it. The 5 kind of looks like a Y if you really stretch it. But I don't know where you get the 2 R's and the E. Maybe the E comes from JH. I don't know, that's some deep meme, some deep leet talk right there that I don't know if I'm capable of deciphering. And I think I've gone with J-Lo in the past, so probably will be the enunciation of choice. Still waiting on the 5th for Ember, if you are wondering what the heck's going on. I suppose we could drop over to a different scene, but I feel like this is providing all the relevant and pertinent information for what is to come. I always like to keep you informed. My dream. I think in terms of the rules, they have another I think it's another 7 minutes until they have to call one of their own timeouts. I'm sure they wouldn't want to have to do. I actually think they may have to play around first and then call a timeout. But I could be wrong. Getting information now. We're going to have to do a quick lobby reset, so bear with us as we try and solve some player technical difficulties. give you some music while we try and solve this one. Finally, yeah, it does look like Milkman is in the lobby, so the action should be underway in a few seconds, if I dare say it. Quick reminder before we hit into this round, the rosters for each side over on Ember. We have Hellfire, Quokka, SliderCon, Milkman, and JLo. And on Rome, we have Gladiator, William Dunce, Lorena Scout, Lucky AF, and Mike Crook. Two solid rosters. I don't think we're going to have to wait any longer as round number 1 of map 1 is underway. Ember on the offensive, Rome on the defensive. Let's make sure I have that right. I believe I do. We had team names mixed up in the All-Star tournament the other day, and that was a real doozy. But this one, I'm a little more familiar with the squad, so I think I got it right. SliderCon and JLo setting up for an early shots out of these windows if they spot any sort of rotation. He does see one there. Doesn't take the shots. He could have easily grabbed one. Super exposed, peeking that corner.
Objective building across the street. This one behind that building.
But that is info for Slider.
Come on, call it, right there, that building with the stairs. With that, come here. With that ladder, right there.
The one all the way right in front of us?
There's one enemy by the building adjacent.
I'm going to say they need to radio that into the rest of the team so that Quokka and the remaining two, Milkman and Hellfire, are aware of that location. Oh no, and an unfortunate drop coming in from Milkman. That is not what you want to see. Turns things down into a 4v5 pretty early for Ember. Downfall is a bit different than it used to be. Have some new palms that do add a bit of cover for an approach like Hellfire's here. Can tuck inside there, be relatively tough to spot. Unless you are a Vulcan, you got your eyes trained in on something like this shrub and you do see any sort of adjustments in these bushes, you can take the shots, but I don't think Gladiator has an angle. Quokka opting for the long rotation. He may see or run into one on the corner. And he doesn't spot Mike Crook in time, and Mike scoops up an early pick for Ember, turning it into a 3v5. An unfortunate drop. Not exactly helping the numbers of Ember. Now it comes down to JLo, SliderCon, and Hellfire. They have to make some sort of magic happen. They have quite a few obstacles to cross. There is a big gap in coverage in that valley, though. They rotate around like they are, and they can grab that one watching from the window. There are some big opportunities for them to be rotating on that far north side, but it looks like SliderCon's actually going to alternate to the south side. I thought maybe he was going to consider charging down North Valley, but I think he's rotating around south to go grab Quokka, who is down in that ravine. Halo down in the mud. Just trying to inch his way forward and spot out any over-eager Rome defenders, but I think he may be grabbed by Lucky before anything happens. Hellfire charging forward. Shots missing. Lucky AF here, waiting for the cross, finally. Takes the very patient shots. Ember now into a 2v5. Quickly to be a 3v5 if Slider can get the res in time.
Get the fuck down. Get the fuck down right now.
Oh my gosh. Quokka tried to tell him to get up there. And Slider took his time, and unfortunately, Quokka goes down to the res timer, and Gladiator scoops up J-Lo trying to rotate on the north side. Gonna leave it all down to SliderCon in a 1v5.
I'm continuing Quokka's push.
Comeback. It's a long one. He's got 30 seconds left. He's got to kill 4 Rome. I highly doubt anything's going to come out of this, but he did grab 1. I don't think he's aware of his time now. Maybe after checking pad he is. Stands up and begins the sprint, but should expose him to an easy shot from Mike on the hill.
Shot, dude, one shot.
And Rome grab their first round in pretty strong fashion, but as you would expect, with a early disconnect turning it into a 4v5. Well, this is good. I was concerned that Ember would have to run with 4, but I think let me double check this. Yes. The diverse roster of Ember coming into play here. They are able to fill out their 5th with C-Max, who will be joining them. Ember now should be going into this round 5 strong and hopefully putting up a little bit of a tighter round. Obviously, losing 1 in a disconnect like that makes it hard for your approach to kind of shake out how you'd want it to. Round number 2 of map 1 is underway. Ember losing to time. Well, to deaths, but ultimately the time causing them to be overexposed. We'll see now if they can be patient and stand the push from Rome. Rome does get a pretty far southeast spawn, so you'll see them doing a really long rotation here. Lorena Scout and Lucky. No shotgun here today on Downfall. Meanwhile, the remaining few take the south. William Dunce and Gladiator taking the ravine. It looks like one perched up high on the hill as well, trying to gain an overwatch position and maybe grab some picks from a distance. Take a look at the defense. Ember set up in some interesting spots. SliderCon here on the wall. Not a position I'm terribly familiar with. It does look like a nice little angle he's watching the ravine from. How effective that will be, we will see. We also have J-Lo. Pretty exposed if they get a real long rotation on that hill, like they are doing. Might get caught out here. See if that spot pays off. And then C-Max taking a gander up over at this north push. Lucky AF. And his teammate now dropping back to rotate. Lorena Scout's going to probably try and take the long rotation over, at least into that two-story there in that building, or over to the one in the far north. See how that unfolds. In the meanwhile, we can head on over to the south push. Gladiator and Quokka getting pretty close to each other. But it's interesting, the middle of this map is pretty open. Hailfire's not checking through his window, so Quokka really the only one that has vision here. Mike Crook grabbing SliderCon. Wow, I don't know how he saw that angle, but maybe Slider just peeking up over his wall. Or was he on a rotation? He must have been. Good pick there from Lucky. J-Lo and C-Max still tucked in. J-Lo getting even closer to that wall now after Slider went down. And an interesting move here coming in from Gladiator. Trying to inch his way up. I wonder... Yeah, he's definitely not going to be aware of his Quokka positioning. I wonder how long Quokka is going to hold on to this. Lucky grabs Hailfire up in the north. And here comes the push from Rome. They're looking to be in a very good position. Quokka's going to have to deny some of this push here. Gladiator now is super exposed to an angle. Does grab one. Now the eyes are trained in here. This rotation super exposed. Shots come into his back. He just barely tucks in time. That may slow down the push. And now that hilltop position does finally come into effect. J-Lo goes down to shots from the hilltop. Now C-Max, the lone survivor on objective, able to grab one, pushing through the smoke. Mike Crook grabs himself another on the hill, and it's all up to the lone defender, C-Max. A minute 30 on the clock. Lorena Scout and the one remaining Marsoc pretty far away. He does get spotted out. C-Max can't land the shot. Ducks behind the sliver of wood, or sliver of wall, excuse me.
Yeah, right.
Ooh. That rifle just missing C-Max's head. He could now get the res while this rotation goes through, but he's going to have to do it quick.
Hey, watch out for that sniper, though.
I'm looking for him. I don't see him.
I see him. He's by the trees.
Alright.
He's trying to get that angle. I'm going to wait for him to come to me. He's the last one.
Is he?
Keep an eye out for him. Look out by the objective for him.
Now, that's a little misinformation from C-Max. He thinks the last one surviving is up on that hill. And now he might get overexposed to an angle from that mountaintop there. C-Max and Lorena dangerously close. Lorena tossing a smoke. C-Max waiting for this corner peek. Lorena on the trade.
I tried, guys.
And Rome grab themselves a Marsoc round with a few seconds left and push their lead 2-0. Looks like we had one disconnect on Rome, so we will be patiently waiting for that fifth to rejoin. But an interesting start. Rome definitely looking to be a bit more organized. Their play is definitely working out. That hilltop rotation, very effective for this defense that Rome set up, or that Ember set up. You know, caught out a pretty important defender on objective wall, and I mean, he would have caught more if they hadn't already been picked off, but we'll see now if Ember can work some magic on Marsoc as we hop into round 3 of map number 1. Using that quick spawn to their aggression to their advantage. Smoke's out early, too. That's actually a pretty good smoke going through the wall, kind of denying vision into that building. And they've completely taken control of the center 3-story. It does give them some options, but they do run the risk of kind of getting pinched down on. Now you can see they have one position up on that high hilltop on the north. Lorena Scout here down by objective and a few more with angles, but I think some proper smokes and a good push up the center is the right way to go. And Ember are looking very coordinated, making me eat my words here as they all work together to grab this center building and try and push forward. Ooh! I'm going to say they're going to have to deal with Mike Crook on that hilltop. And Lucky on the other hill. They really are pinching down on this approach now. It's going to be super hard for this Ember team to push out. We're in a scout on objective. Grabs Hellfire, the sniper here. Looking for some long-range shots while the suppressive fire from Lucky AF keeps Ember pinned. And now they're down to 2 in a flash, and they're trying to smoke their cross. It's just a little bit too late. Max trying to get those shots onto Lorena. I think they realize they're in a bit of a bind here on this corner. J-Lo fortunate that Mike wasn't looking down here. Now does have his eyes trained here on the backside, so they have to opt for a different rotation. C-Max is going to try and find shots into that dark building, but can't quite land them. Lucky staying lucky. Shots again from Lorena. Making it hard for this team to push out. Also the Overwatch position from Mike, as eyes trained in, finds 1.
I think white card's down, maybe not.
That makes 2 in total for him on this defensive position.
They've got to be flank us now. We got at least 3 down.
I'm not totally aware
I'm gonna move and check north.
of their kill count. They only have to deal with the one remaining Ember, C-Max. He is in a real awkward spot. He's really trying to get Lucky, but Lucky's already rotated out of that dark room. C-Max tries to come out here again. Might run into Mike, sees him up on the hilltop, takes shots, can't quite land him. And C-Max has just been barely missing a couple of targets. Now an interesting push. He managed to go relatively unnoticed, but William Dunce grabbing that final kill from White House, and Rome continue to look real good and push their lead up 3-0. Now I feel like this is giving me some deja vu. Go back and look at Rome's past match I cast. Yeah, so Rome very capable of putting on these, dare I say, shows on maps that they're familiar with. And I don't even know if they are terrible. I mean, obviously, practiced here on this map. I think this is their map. Let me make sure I have the home and away teams right. Yeah, I think this is... Oh no, this should be Ember's map choice, so for Rome to be winning like this is not a good indicator for Ember. If I were to be a betting man, I'd say we're going to go to Quarantine for map number 2, as they went 4-0 on Blaze on that map last time we were casting them. And that's where they actually took it to a best of 3 with Blaze, so Ember going to have to pull some magic out here if they want to stay alive on their map of choice. Or they're going to have to really step it up for map number 2. We'll see exactly how this one ends up shaking out. Let me update scores. There's your KDs so far. Hailfire and J-Lo having a tough time contributing to the Ember team. We'll see if they can get on the board here. We get into round number 4 of map 1. Bit of a botched defensive smoke there. Does nearly cost them at least one. There goes down. Hailfire on that cross. Pretty good shots through the palm trees, and Quokka may risk this res. Yikes. Tried to flash, but obviously that range of the flash not going to be affecting Mike Crook sniping with his 12 times in silencer, and as soon as they went for that res, a lot of rounds came down towards them, and Rome now into a 5v3 pushing in towards objective. You have William Dunce in the center, Lorena Scout and Lucky AF taking up positions on the east as they slowly advance up across the wall. They have no coverage of this move that Lucky's making. I think C-Max is inside, so it's going to be pretty free for Lucky to cross up here using this wall as cover. He actually doesn't even need the wall. Boca finally reacting to the moves from Lorena Scout, but here comes the push from Rome. William Dunst, doused in the smoke, will avoid C-Max's prying eyes. Lucky AF not going to be so fortunate, but Will here on the corner could consider capping. They have no eyes on. C-Max not going to be able to see this rotation. A flashbang coming out. That's not going to be the right choice. Quokka able to duck back in time. And it actually was a nade. So he was going to try and nade Quokka. It looked like a flash in his hand, but either way, Quokka able to deny that attempted cap, and Rome have been cut down as they all tried to approach objective. Now it's all into the hands of the lone survivor, the sniper, Mr. Mike Crook. We'll see just exactly what he's capable of in this long rotation. He's got 3 and 15 left on the clock. He's going to go for the long rotation. He's going to take that hilltop. Wonder if this... Yeah, I'd say he's got time for it. He's just got to keep the dead sprint here. And as soon as he gets up in that position, he's got to take a few shots and then continue to move. Taking him 1 minute of his timer to get here.
Oh, I see one in dumpster.
I think I know what he's going to do. He's going to try and rotate here and look for the straight angle right into that objective room. Right about here, he can take shots onto 2 defenders. He is trying to get eyesight in there. He's going to need to grab these 2 if he wants any hope of this rotation working out for him. I think he's aware of the danger of peeking this, and he's going prone here to check up over this ridge. Oh, a nice shot. Huge pickup for Mike. Minute 15 on the clock, though. "60 seconds. Gonna have to start his move soon." I think he's aware, too. I believe he just checked his watch. Yep, does spot 1 on objective. Down goes Slider. And those are the 2 he needs. Now he needs to crash objective. 30 seconds left. He's just going to hunt for that final pick, but he's not going to find it as long as C-Max stays tucked in. Good solid defensive hold from Ember, but a long one. That rotation worked out well, but not properly timed, and Ember able to get on the board. Talk about a good salvage from a really bad start for Ember. Losing 2 real early. They did a great job of holding on. Going into what could be the series decider. Rome just have to grab this defensive round. They will have themselves map 1. Interesting pre-fire coming in from these guys. I guess they were concerned about that spawn and a very early cross, but I just don't think that it maybe would be necessary. Up on the corner, Mike Crook and J-Lo going just unnoticed. Well, they were obviously surprised to see each other there. But they do both go down. Ember now, again, into an early disadvantage 3v4 this time, though. No flies in your headsets, just flies in game. Woka now making a bit of a rotation over to the south. Looking for an angle there. Might be able to find some shots into the window if he's fortunate.
Start pushing.
Yeah, we need to do it. We gotta go.
Oh, risky.
Alright, ready?
Looks like a bit of a push coming in. Hellfire just above William Dunce. Could draw eyes over here, and C-Max is looking to catch any peekers. I was going to say, if he goes downstairs, it might be trouble for this team, but also opts for the upstairs route, and Will is just trained in waiting for these guys to drop down, and he'll take his shots then, but I only be able to get one instead of two, depending on how patient he is. Oh my gosh, Hailfire. Almost avoiding detection by going underneath the line of sight of Will, but not quite good enough. C-Max now. Only one here, and Quokka on the other end of things, trying to inch his way up. Has a minute and 30 left.
Yeah, it's right there. No, it's still alive, it's still alive, it's still alive.
William, very aware of C-Max positioning. I think C-Max now knows Will's in there as well because he heard those shots and the comms come in. Or what Quokka's plan is exactly. I like this one better than him trying to approach up there. Gonna have to deal with Gladiator. Let's spot him out, and now it's all up to C-Max. Lorena Scout grabbing the final kill, and overall KD for a 7-1 for Mike. The sniper really coming into play there on Onward, on Downfall. Getting Rome map number 1. Now they go into their map of choice, so here's see what it is. Like I said, I expect to see Quarantine here, and it's going to be tough for Ember to grab this one. They're going to have to really fuck it up. Map number 2. Oh, should I keep you in suspense or not? I think I'll tell you. This is going to be Subway. As you can probably hear, the loud... Is that a train? Is that generators? What is that? Train generators? Oh, the ventilation. I don't know what's making the sounds in Subway, but it's Subway. Taking a look at the rosters, doesn't look like any subs coming in. Was William Dunce playing last round? I think he was. No more waiting around. I'm not sure what to expect out of this one. Ember may be able to throw some curveball strats towards Rome, but this is Rome's map pick, so I do anticipate them to be looking strong and coordinated here, just as they did on Downfall. Very likely give Ember a pretty good challenge. We'll see how they fend it off. We hop into round 1, map 2. No underground approach coming in from Rome, all upstairs. Lorena Scout going to be real aggressive here, trying to take command of that back stairwell. If he can, it gives him a lot of options for attacking and poking and prodding at the Ember defense. Very often, though, one defender is at least positioned somewhere inside this backside, but they have no one. Interestingly, very open entry point here for Lorena if he decides to take it. SliderCon could take a peek if he goes up the stairs. JLo doesn't really have an angle. C-Max maybe. But JLo will be able to defend against Mike Crook here. Shots coming out from Will. That was a really slow rotation for him to be coming down these stairs now. Must have almost waited a minute. Back to JLo trying to deal with the shield. The nade goes a little too high for his taste. Lucky pushing this. Gets inside the L. Curious if JLo is aware of this. He is. Has his eyes drawn in. Grabs Lucky. A nice pickup. Puts Rome into an early advantage. Mike Crook with the refrag and the shield. Take up position here. Lorena Scout finally going to partake in the offensive. He begins to peek and gander down into the main hallway of the OBJ. May be able to find C-Max if he takes the appropriate angle, but I don't think he will. Ooh, SliderCon able to deny Gladiator the approach from the north, but it still does leave a lot of other angles very open. Mike's being one of them. William able to get kills downstairs. More shots. Lorena actually able to grab SliderCon out, and he begins his push towards objective. Mike Crook out of the L, and he's beginning his push as well. Quokka is going to be in a bit of a pinch here as Mike slowly inches his way to the backside of him. Pistol shots missed. Now Quokka's aware. Not in time, though. Mike getting dangerously close, and it's all down to the final defender, C-Max. Lorena Scout has his eyes trained in. Right on to C-Max. I wonder if he's going to take those shots. He does. Down goes C-Max. A good pickup from Lorena. Grab Rome. Round 1. And what could be the series decider for them if they can take this map as well. But a very good, not perfectly synced, but relatively coordinated approach there from Rome. They had one coming in from the north, the south approach, one underground, and then one from up top on the east. They really were covering all of the angles. If they had just synced up their approaches at the same time, it probably could have been even more effective, but they, I mean, who am I to say? They won with 3 left alive, so obviously their rotations and plays working out for them quite well. Ember really got to stop this momentum, though. I think they need to grab this Marsoc round, put themselves back on the board here, keep themselves competitive with Rome on this map. If they let Rome run away here, I think they're in real danger of a cap to come onto them for that final round 3. We'll see what they're capable of and what kind of strats they break out. We get into round 2 of map number 2. Ember on the offensive. But they're going to opt for a majority downstairs push. Only a solid strategy, but obviously with all these tight corners, you do risk one nade taking down a couple of you, but there's no real defense from Rome downstairs, and oddly enough, someone died. I don't know how. I didn't see that on the kill feed. I didn't know what happened there. One down on Rome. Hellfire signaling for JLo and C-Max to slow down so their footsteps don't make audio sound. Wants to be completely silent on this approach. Underground approach from Ember is accompanied by one in the north and one in the south, so they're going to try and make this approach happen probably at the same time, you would think. Hellfire is going to have to kind of patiently wait for the rest of his team to get into position on the north and south. And Quokka's actually going for the underground route, so this is an interesting move here. I do like it. Would have free and easy entry down here, and then he'll take the stairwell up and be able to peek into objective. He'll have to be cautious of quite a few people to his back. William Dunn's Gladiator. Obviously Mike Crook on the front, so he's going to be surrounded by defenders once he approaches up from these stairs. But will have the support of his team. Hellfire, JLo, and C-Max also moving into position. It's a wonder why Gladiator hasn't taken any shots yet. Maybe he just hasn't seen this. Does finally take those shots. C4 detonated, fails to down JLo or C-Max here. Now the suppressive fire is thick onto Gladiator as he ducks in. Not sure what he's cowering behind, but the push is coming out now. They need Quokka to advance up from the stairs. He could be a devastating element right now if he comes up from the stairs and coordinates this push. They have SliderCon on the north, providing suppressive fire into the center, drawing Lucky's attention, so Mike's really the only one that's going to be able to deal with this. And Quokka, interestingly, not opting to go up these stairs and support as the firefight goes down. C-Max grabs one, Mike Crook getting another, and the entirety of the Ember push denied. Moves it all up to the one in the north and one underground. SliderCon and Quokka. Bit of a calm in the storm now as Quokka does get nearly up into a position where he could be taking shots into the center, but he's not really going to have any angles. Lucky's pretty tucked in. Gladiator may be exposed, but Lucky's just waiting. Holding a super tight angle. Oh, wow, look at this one. Yep, looking at me. I know it. I'm seeing it. Quokka grabs one. Lucky looking for the refrag. Can't quite find it. SliderCon's in an interesting spot. He may be able to surprise William. Or maybe surprised by Lucky, who does miss those angles again. Slider's still not aware. Does finally go down. Rotation from Quokka coming out from downstairs. May be able to grab a couple if he's fortunate. If he can get up here in time, he could grab Will and Gladiator. Charging up. Does see Gladiator. Gets one, gets two. That's a huge start. Lucky AF, the final defender. Looking over here for Quokka. Doesn't spot him out. Finally takes the shots. Does secure them in Rome. Very close. Able to barely hold on to their defensive round and push the lead 2-0. It almost was exactly what Ember needed to grab this Marsoc round and tie things up, but they couldn't quite do it. Now they run the risk of Rome being able to cap and secure the series. We'll see what sort of strats Rome break out, but I would be willing to guess it's going to be geared towards a cap orient. I would think here. Let's see what objective we're getting, though. If it's downstairs, there's no dice. It does look like... Ooh. Yeah. This will be interesting. It's going to be a north objective, north stairwell OBJ. Could all come down to this. If Rome do grab this cap, we'll be going on the defensive as we hop into round number... Gosh, it's hard without the scoreboard. 3? This is going to be the hot corner. You anticipate a lot of utility get chucked up and over into this valley, as does the Rome offense, although they are crashing super hard down this alley. Very vulnerable to a good nade toss from Hellfire or C-Max, who are not opting to do so. Lucky could be taken out. And interesting to see they're not investing too heavily on approaching from this angle. Will actually playing super passive. He's tucked back waiting for Ember to push up from this corner. That'll be a very aggressive defensive move, and I doubt we'll see it, although Hellfire is getting into a spot where he may be inching his way to peek the corner. Lucky AF also slowly approaching. Bit of the waiting game while the rest of his team works their way into position. I say that as Lorena Scout holds a pretty passive angle. Gladiator actually the one that is the most advanced, along with his duo buddy Mike Crook, who was the MVP of Downfall. Now the shield user, interestingly enough. The long-range sniper shifted to the close-range shields. Quite a diverse player. Ooh, Lucky able to grab a Hailfire up in that alleyway. Does leave it all up to C-Max as Mike and Gladiator make their way over. They do spot one. Quokka taking shots onto the shield, looking for the angles, and Gladiator reinforcing with shots over the shoulder. Mike and Gladiator very in sync, moving to the exact same spots.
Check staircase, check the room.
And now they have a tall order. Crossing this is tough. There's a ton of angles to be hold from. Mike's checking the stairwell now, but J-Lo's not in the stairwell. He's in old Volk spawn, holding a pretty defended angle. It would require Mike to push in here and flank, but there's also the angle being held, which is now smoked perfectly. That should deny Mike this ability to push up onto J-Lo. The shield spots him, and J-Lo's in trouble, and Nade tries to come up and out, but not in time. And a huge move from Mike. Rome looking so good on this coordinated push inside OBJ. Don't have to worry about the three making their way in from the stairwell. Slider con shots go out. They miss. Now he has to deal with the shield and pistol. All the while, Gladiators punching in the code. Rome looking to grab the series, and they do. A really nice push with great smokes. Deny vision properly, allowing the proper picks to come out and open up the lane, I suppose, of entry for Rome as they get the cap and the series. Definitely a tough pill to swallow for Ember. But we'll see if they can scoop up a third map, if they can bounce back from this sort of rough start. They'll be trying to do it on their map of choice, which is going to be Suburbia for map number 3. It's like, I mean, I called it. Look, okay, I guess I cursed it, if you will, but I called it. I said they're gonna, if they can get this second round, Rome is gonna look for a cap going on the offense, and it's exactly what they did. They secured themselves a quick second map. I mean, they wasted no time there getting that round. No subs coming in from either side. Same rosters. Yeah, same rosters. Couple of close ones, I will say that. Ember were able to get real close to grabbing at least one round there on Subway. Like I said, it was an important one. They really needed the momentum, but now they have almost no momentum. I think it's been 5 unanswered rounds into the hands of Rome. They want to lighten that MMR loss. They really got to lock it up here. I think it's a 1200 to 1190 MMR separation. So only 10 MMR, if that. And frankly, this is a pretty big series for Rome. I'm curious to see how much they're going to be bumped up in the rankings. They may be boosted up into a gold tier rank. They very well could be pushed up there amongst teams like Space Force. We'll see if they can ease up the damage a little bit as we hop into map number 3. The series into the hands of Rome, but we'll see if Ember can salvage the series and grab a map. I guess they could scavenge for a map too. Ooh, a good nade. Wow, really fortunate that doesn't grab anybody, but it was a well tossed. Nobody opting to go onto the east side this time. Ember staying pretty tucked in. JLo watching the flank in case there's over-aggressive roam. As you would expect after after losing the series. Sometimes squads kind of go really hard, trying to overwhelm, if you will, their opponent and really push them down and grab the third map, but none of that coming out of Rome, at least right now, for the start of this map, and it is allowing for Ember to all sort of crawl and creep their way up into relatively forward positions. FighterCon should be running into William Dunce here soon. Oh, actually, Lorena finds one first on the stairwell. Slider inches forward. Will grabs one there, and Rome very quickly into a 5v3. Gladiator not going to see Quokka here. May hear that nade, though, and decide to take a gander. As the nade does come up, Lucky charges down, avoids the explosion, and grabs one. Nades come out towards C-Max. He's able to drop back just far enough, and JLo had his eyes trained on a C-Max there. I was worried about a team killer. And a scout looking out this window, looking for any sort of action. Tosses a nade that flashes C-Max. Now it's 2v4. On board C-Max, he's peeking and prodding his way into the center house. If he can charge up the stairs and get kills, he's actually in a pretty good spot to try and contest quite a few defensive positions from Rome. That's a tall order, though. There's two defenders up there. He'd have to get a quick double. If he lingers too long, he'll be vulnerable to outside defenders. Ooh, and he was going to grab one outside, but Lucky able to deny that. Now it's all up to JLo.
About 2 minutes to go. Epic, yo.
I'm not sure what the plan is. I guess he's going to rotate all the way around and try and come in from the east. I don't know if that's going to be any easier, considering you have to then challenge 2-story positions from a 1-story, so you got to give up the height advantage. He's also going to be pinched because he's got one defender in the objective building, so once he gets to that corner and tries to push his way out, he's going to be sandwiched between 2 attackers at tank. So see how this strategy shakes out. Obviously, with overhead and everything that we can see, we have a lot better idea of enemy locations. He may be assuming nobody's at the other side of objective. Everyone's in that house. So I think he's going to try and invest in this rotation. He's only got 45 seconds left, though. So not a ton of time for this crawling business if he wants to try and get there and cap. This has honestly been a thing for Ember in this series. They haven't been very aware of their time. Even though JLo's checking his clock, as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure he's checking his clock when he looks at his wrist. He should be well aware of the time restraints. He does push up. He catches Mike Crook on an over-rotation checking objective, and now he's only got 20 seconds left to work with. Grabs another. Only 2 more left for Rome. 10 seconds on the clock. can't get the third, but if he did, he may have been able to grab all 4, but probably not in time. But a good attempt. Not good enough. Rome, grab the round. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you did just stop by, you have come to the end of the series, the final map, but there's a little surprise coming here. Something new we're introducing. We'll be going down and doing a post-game interview of the winning team captain. So we'll be dropping in and getting a little info from the Rome squad on this win. So make sure to stick around until the end of this map. We'll be getting a nice little post-game interview courtesy of the Hive and the one and only Control Flirt Delete, aka Vivian, will be delivering us that interview. So I'm looking forward to that. We're breaking new ground, trying to innovate on the VR esports ideas. If you got any cool concepts and stuff like this that you think might be nice to add to the cast, we do take suggestions. I think there's a place to complain and compliment and suggest on the site. I think you can go there and probably put in some new stuff you'd want to see, or in the Discord. Just don't at me. Round number 2 of map 3, and Rome applying the pressure early. The Reina Scout and Gladiator charging forward while the smokes are thick onto OBJ. Gladiator, actually, interestingly enough, trying to go underneath the fire of Hailfire. That's not going to quite pan out. Mike Crook, on the other hand, could potentially get this if he can take down C-Max through the smoke. Can't quite see him yet. Does knife C-Max. He's here on OBJ. He could be punching in the code here on the smoke. Gets a little bit exposed. Nobody's going to see this, and Mike Crook should grab Rome. Another cap as they go up 3-0 on map number 3. Wow, blink and you'd missed it. That was a quick push and cap, utilizing the smoke and chaos to their advantage, sending one after another in towards objective, kind of throwing off the defenders, but ultimately a really nice knife kill and cap. Get Rome 2 points, and now all they gotta do is hold on to this Volk round, and the objective's in Garage. So it should be relatively easy for them to secure this. Rome is playing another game Thursday. Where's it? Ember. Ember is going up against Blaze. A lot of information for Blaze to work with here. This whole series has been a tough one for Ember, and I don't know, maybe take some notes from the approach that Rome had on all the maps today, because they certainly gave Ember a tough time. 11-1 right now. And Rome on the brink of grabbing the third map, 4-0. We'll see if they can do that, or if Ember can get themselves on the board just a little bit more as we hop into round number 3 of map 3. Hard push comes in. One goes down in a trade. Lucky AF able to grab one, and Mike Crook on a real aggressive rotation. Now Rome is trying to apply that hard, heavy pressure from the Volk side and suppress the embers that are burning. They want to dump some sand on them, prevent them from being able to grab any more rounds. As they do that, Lucky grabs Hailfire. Quokka is going to try his hand at pushing out from the smoke, and Lorena nearly grabs him with shots from the tank. C-Max is going to try and charge into Carport. I thought maybe he was going to go. Quokka goes down to Lorena. I thought maybe he was going to go inside, but now the lone attacker. And he gets scooped up by William Dunce. Rome, in a very commanding fashion, take this series. What is that? 12-1. Wow. Let me radio into our host. But wow, what a series from Rome. Able to secure 12 points, 8 of them, 9 actually, unanswered from the side of Rome. What a great series for them. They look so coordinated today. I was incredibly impressed. I'm curious to see what sort of mindsets went into this. We'll get that from Vivian in just a moment. Yeah, she should be in shortly. And while we wait, why don't you head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward. You'll find all of the Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook links so you can get notified on when these games go live. Trying to figure out the logistics here. This is our first interview, so we got to figure out how we're going to coordinate this. I don't see Vivian in this lobby. I'm not sure what they're doing. Sorry for the tech difficulties. We're still trying to figure this sort of stuff out. Looks like the player is not aware of what the plan is for this, even though we did explain it to them explicitly. So I'm not sure what they're doing. All right. Go ahead and mute that while we patiently wait. Doing. I apologize for this. We are still trying to deal with the tech side of it, so give me a second. Again, I don't know why they're playing rounds and starting rounds, but they should be waiting for the Vivian to join lobby. And this is something that all players should be aware of. We are rolling this out, so if you are tuning into this cast, please, you got to work with us a little bit better. It's something new we're rolling out, but it's not that hard to just have a lobby and wait for a person to come in and interview, but also that person should probably be a little bit more ready to get into that. So we're working out the kinks. We'll have things smooth out. This is a good one to try this on too, because it was pretty much just a blowout. So kind of get a feel for how I want to run this. I think we do finally have our interviewer in the lobby, though, so should be able to pass it down to her shortly. We'll let her get set up, get the lobby underway, and then we'll hand it down to Vivian. Or control. I don't know how she wants to be. Figure out her caster name. Maybe control flirt delete. I don't know, chat. Radio in. Looks like we have both players in the lobby, and I think we're going to be passing it down to Vivian for the interview. They don't seem to understand the format, so we'll just patiently wait for her.
All right.
No, we
Are
don't
we
need
ready?
you in Discord. Gosh darn it.
Well, I don't know if NightFiree is ready.
Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right, guys. So, sorry I was late. I watched the game. Congratulations on your win against Ember. Was this a challenge match, or were you guys match this?
It was a challenge, so we decided to challenge, accept their challenge today. So, yeah. So it was a challenge to, you know, accept challenges because I didn't know if we had guys enough. Last minute we have all 5, you know. But that turned out to be great. Yeah.
Where's Mike?
Yeah. Mike is
Okay, the one who.
interview.
So, Mike, you were
first
MVP, I think, right?
Yeah, I definitely was. That's like pretty normal with running.
I definitely was. All right, get out of here. You know what? If you're gonna not be humble about it. So, I gotta say though,
Yeah,
that
this dude
round
was
on-
awesome. You know,
Yeah.
you love this dude.
Your round on Downfall, where you,
Yeah,
yeah, I see that people have like been running out of time a lot lately on maps. Are you guys finding that to be like a big problem too?
No, I did that because normally when that 30-minute timer comes up, they get a little antsy. So I was waiting for the rush back to objective, but it just never happened.
30
So
seconds.
we were already 3-0, so I didn't need to. You know.
It was actually my bad because I should have gone for a bigger flank. I got a short flank. That guy killed me. So
Yeah. While they were all dead, I was talking to myself. I was like, I'm gonna let this one go just in case he rushes out, and then he never rushed
it's
out.
funny. I'm looking for my daughter in cargo.
So, you guys picked Suburbia as your last map? I mean, I play that a lot.
No, it
with
was
you guys,
Amber was
so-
fun.
They played-
Amber was
Oh,
fun.
is it?
Amber
Oh, they
picked
picked it?
Suburbia.
Oh,
we
did you guys
picked,
pick
so
Suburbia?
Downfall is one of their best.
Oh,
teams,
you're
so they
right.
started
You're right.
that.
They were home team. But I play with you guys a lot, and you guys are really good on
Thank you.
Suburbia. So not as good as me, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
But-
Okay.
Well, Lucky, where are you?
Challenge. We need
Did
another
you
challenge.
see that knife after I capped? Did you see
All
that?
right, Lucky will vouch for me. Yeah. So what was the best move tonight? Tell me. What did you guys think?
That's new.
I don't know. We had a lot
Best
of good
move.
moves.
The team play.
We had a
Really
camp.
good team
Yeah,
play.
so we planned a rush, and it ended. Yeah, we said,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna confuse them. We're gonna do something, but actually do something else, you know, and that it worked really well. I think we capped in the end. I think Mike capped, right?
Yeah, I capped. I
Yeah,
had a
Mike
knife.
capped.
I heard
So
a guy
Mike is
talking behind
definitely
the tank,
MVP
so I
tonight.
didn't want to shoot, so I
Yeah.
knifed them, and then I ran back around
Yeah.
and capped. I only got the
Yeah.
cap because it was 420.
No,
was
okay.
all it was.
Super good. So we're playing like the last month of the league. How are you guys
Yeah.
thinking? How you're gonna finish? You gonna go
Our finish is kind of skewed because we had so many drops early in the season, so it kind of killed our games, killed our MMR. Like there was at least 5 matches where half of our team dropped out, and we weren't able to finish.
Especially this guy's
There
problem.
was a couple where we were able to like we played No Man's team. I forget the name. My bad. I don't play Otis all the time. But we 4v5'd them the whole time on Downfall.
Yeah, Blaze. We had to play Blaze
Quarantine.
for a 4v5 on Quarantine. You know, like.
Yeah, and we won.
Oh, yeah.
We 4-0'd them. It was dope.
Oh no, that we don't talk about those things, yeah.
My favorite part is how humble you are, Mike.
Yeah, thank you. So much. I learned it from you actually.
Oh yeah? Is that true?
I actually got something for you. Hold on.
Oh,
You can always use the frag on him. That's what we do.
Oh yeah, I know. He doesn't like it when I kill him.
I don't think you've ever killed me, but maybe one of these days. Maybe I get lucky.
Wow. I did get lucky. For sure I got lucky. Lucky, tell him.
Well, no.
Oh my.
With 19 kids.
Dude,
So,
that is not what I meant. Okay, look at him glitching over there. No, in Gladiator, I play with you a lot, although you do get me a lot. I get you too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, you know what? I haven't done an interview with you guys. We do like a camera interview, and I think that would be
Yeah,
fun.
let's do it. You guys are up to camera. Who's shy on cameras? I think.
Yeah, we'll have to schedule
Lucky
you guys
has
to
one
do it.
camera. Oh, Lucky doesn't want.
I want to see how
No
ugly
one
my
likes
mic is. I'm guessing
it's
he's
pretty
super
bad.
ugly.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
Mike
gonna
is a
guess
little
so.
ugly though. He's not man
Imagine
for.
beard, but with less rapey. That's how I am.
Oh my
Mike is not
god.
meant
We
for
are on TV right now. You know, I came in here like, Mike is a cool dude. Like, I played with him and stuff. And you're just like,
Yeah, but I know you.
Worse.
This guy's
oh,
a
hey,
racist.
30 seconds. Wait, like, you heard this. And then you didn't win. Remember that part? Does that sound... I know you won.
Sorry, I'm cutting out.
Just
So bad,
wondering
isn't
if
it?
you-
Cutting?
Uh-huh.
Vivian.
Yeah.
This guy is a racer in the real world. He races cars and he wins all the time. Like he's a fucking
Oh.
10 seconds,
badass.
get it over with.
Good for
Nine.
you.
Alright.
I guess we have to stab each other now?
Yeah. Okay.
I think that will be it for our first post-game interview. An interesting one as that. Thank you so much, Vivian, for dropping in and diving down into the game and interviewing those hooligans. Obviously, Rome very confident in their skill set. We'll see if that confidence carries throughout the rest of this season. As Viv mentioned, we are getting close to the finale. So we are nearly there. But we're not there yet. That action's coming up this week and the weeks to come. So make sure to tune in to that. It'll be it for me here on the desk. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you with more action, week 10 action this week. Bye-bye.